Hello everyone. We had some technical difficulties when I tried to record just a few minutes ago. I think that's because I attempted to turn the latency all the way down. And I think it failed because I was downloading the game Stray in the background that we discussed yesterday. And Stray will be the next game. We'll do a chapter by chapter video, so there'll be shorter bite-sized pieces where we'll try to get all of the achievements as well as relax from what I've read about the game and the reactions that I've seen to it from people. I believe it's quite a chill kind of game about exploration mainly, and puzzles. And so I have half an hour up my sleeve. Last night's stream went very long. It was a very late night as I re-listened to it all, trying to pick out my flaws to work out where to improve. So we're going to make this one quick because I won't be streaming for a couple of days. I'm going to be traveling. I'm heading to Dusseldorf to visit some friends, and then onwards to Amsterdam to visit some other friends. The benefits of living in mainland Europe is jumping on a plane or a train and being in a different country within an hour, and having friends in lots of different locations. And so I thought, I'm waiting for some laundry to finish so I can pack a suitcase for an early train in the morning. I thought I would just jump on while I'm waiting. So for those of you playing at home, I am drinking another craft beer tonight. Tonight's one is also Northern Monk from Leeds, just as yesterday's one was. This one is the Black Forest Gatto Stout, which is one of my favourite desserts, I'm not going to lie. And it's reasonably tasty. It comes in at about 8% alcohol. It's quite nice. It's quite nice. It is stout season. Stouts, particularly barrel-aged stouts, are probably my favourite category of craft beer, followed by IPAs, depending on season, of course, and situation. So I thought I would just jump on. Latency I've set back to normal, rather than trying to get fancy with it. I turned the volume of the background up to about 75% rather than 50%, so hopefully it's relaxing. And the crackling of a fire, I quite like it as background audio. To be honest, I can hear it as well, rather than hearing my own voice, which is probably also for the best. And so we're going to jump back in. So yesterday when we left off, this is directly a direct continuation of yesterday when we left off. So we completed this this lower left hand corner, or the westward corner, the southwest of Martinique, which, as we learned, is in the Caribbean, which classifies as North America geographic-wise. And what was going to be a simple intro and play of the game ended up turning into a small history lesson as we learned about a few of the places. And I did make a note for May 22nd yesterday for the abolition of slavery in Martinique. That was the main fact that I wrote down from our discovery yesterday. And so what's happened is we've got a new contract also. seems to indicate that there is a gravel pit. Further down in the south of the island, which, given there's a contract, there's a blue arrow that's pointing to... Oh, it's not pointing. I was going to say it's pointing to where the gravel pit is, but that is not going to be possible. I wonder where that's pointing to then. Maybe it's pointing to being with horses on that other island we saw yesterday. Usually it would be pointing to where it is, but it seems not today. So the gravel pit should be to the south somewhere, likely here, with the roadworks. It even says drag the truck to the light blue arrow to Weary, and Weary, we don't know where it is actually, so we'll find it together. And what we also saw yesterday is that we unlocked Jukos, which is another contract, I believe. Ah yes, here. So Jukos will give us $1,000 when we complete it. It's one of our tutorial contracts. Jukos requires sugarcane to be completed. The sugarcane will come, of course, from the house of the cane, Maison de la Canne. But for that we need fertilizer, which we have not found yet. So what we're going to do is we will hide the contracts. We're going to drag our car, because these roadworks need sand that we also have not unlocked yet. So we need to drive north. These roadworks also need sand, so we can't go up to Le Lamentin. So we're just going to drive, we'll drive to Ducos. Actually, we have a couple of other towns here and businesses. So we have the Museum of Popular Arts and Traditions. What I'll do is, I think we'll continue down the pathway of reading some of the history of these things, of these places. But rather than reading about them when we first discovered them, I think we'll read about them once we complete them. It might be a nice little reward to ourselves. So let's do that. So for the Museum of Popular Arts and Traditions we need worms. And 1, 2, 3 unknown resources that we have not discovered on the map yet. We need oranges that at the moment we would get from Ducos once we have some fertilizer. And we need some sugarcane from House of the Cane, Maison de la Canne. Once we have some fertilizer. So just now, there's not much we can do at the Museum of Popular Arts and Traditions. And then we have Saint-Esprit, which is a hidden resource. So there's not much we can do there either, so we're just going to leave that one alone. And so we'll drag our truck to Ducos first, just to get it driving, grease the wheels a little bit, and see where we end up. What tends to happen is as you explore, more of the map will uncover and more industries will be found. You can see highlighted in red here, these will highlight on the map to indicate the end of discovered roads at the moment. So if you can get your truck there, Trucky McTruckface, if we can get Trucky there, it will unlock more. Let's go to Ducos first and see. And we have a new contract. We have a new contract because more of the map became uncovered. Le Francois. Le Francois in Martinique is a coffee plantation with fertilizer for the inputs, but again, dear listener, we do not have a fertilizer source yet, and coffee is the output, so it's not an overly complex resource once we find the fertilizer. So completing that will get us another $1,000. We'll just close that at the moment. And of course this one we're looking forward to very much. It will take us to New Zealand. And so the way I've named this video just now, based on past experience, I've called this Day 2 of Martinique. And Martinique, if memory serves, we should be able to complete the entire country of Martinique. I feel like that may be mistaken. But we may be able to complete the entire country of Martinique. What will happen as we explore more countries, however, is that some of those will need to send resources back and forth to each other. So we'll do that by flying the resources in and out when we've unlocked airports and airplanes. When we get into South Korea, we will start transporting by train also, and in Australia. But in South Korea we'll be able to move cargo between countries rather than just across the wide expanse of Australia, across the Nullarbor. That's a great word, the Nullarbor Plain. And so trains, planes, and automobiles as the movie goes. And so Trucky McTruckface, I don't know if we'll have a name, Trainy McTrainface, potentially. Plainy McPlaneface. So we'll have all of the above. So Martinique, I'm fairly sure, I'm questioning myself more now the more I say it out loud, but I'm fairly sure we can complete the entire country without relying on any other country. Whereas New Zealand, I'm almost 100% positive at some point we'll need to ship goods in or fly goods in from somewhere else. And that's just the way of the world. Not every country produces every resource or has every natural resource available to them. And so you need imports as well as exports for a functioning economy. So it's art imitating life, if you will. If you would call video games art. I certainly would for some of them. So now we have a coffee plantation, Le Francois. Like I said, we can't go to it yet. We can go to it, but we can't unlock it. And so we're just going to drive around a little more. So before the road was blocked off here, the line of sight, and so it's expanded down here. So you see that should be red now as well. Just like that. Let's have a quick look at a couple of the other places nearby, just in case we can unlock some along the way. So we have the Cassava Flour Factory Ruin, Ruine de Fabrique de Farine de Manioc. I'm going to try and refrain from speaking French or attempting to say French words. I'm doing them a complete disservice, I'm sure. And so this needs sugarcane, 2.6 tons of sugarcane, which we need fertilizer for. We're just going to zoom in. Pelagius Cross needs clay, which is another resource. Oh, we do have clay. Oh, I was going to say we did not. So why don't we unlock this one? 4 tons, so 4 loads for trucky. Big truck face. If you'd like to suggest a better name for our truck, you can do so in the comments. And we just unlocked some more industries by driving close to them. So apparently we have unlocked a sugar mill, and the sugar mill is in Old Mill, which I'm not sure what that is. We can have a little look. We'll find it at some point. I could just look it up on the map, on the list, but let's look it up later, shall we? And so we have a sugar mill, which needs sugar cane, and there was another industry there that disappeared, unfortunately. And we're being recommended to buy another truck. So this should be quite an easy contract to complete. It's worth $5,000. Which will reimburse us. So it's essentially getting a truck for free. So if we come to where the trucks are, Les Trois Allées, it says I'll reimburse you the cost of a cheap one, which is $5,000. So what they're suggesting is that we buy this one. And at the moment, that's not a bad idea. We have more than enough money to buy a brand new 1-ton truck, but one in pre-loved condition, shall we say, isn't going to change the world, and we can always repair it when we need to. These other ones are 8-ton trucks that can carry essentially 8 loads simultaneously, so to speak. And it'll take it all and help to complete towns faster. But it will also use up nearly all of our money. Not that money's a concern in this game, really. You can't really go bankrupt. It's just not possible, as far as I know, at least. But it feels like spending 90% of our available money this early in the game, when the towns are all, well, not all, but when the towns of Martinique are generally between 1 and 5 loads or 1 and 10 loads. It feels like it would be overkill. So why don't we just get a free truck at this point? Or just grab a used 1-tonner. So we click and click again. And now Trucky McTruckface has a sibling. So the beautiful thing is now we can have Trucky McTruckface 1 and 2. We can have them completing towns in tandem, different towns in tandem, or we can have them working on the same town, which maybe what we do so that we'll do that so they work together and we don't start to lose track. So if we click 1 and hold down Control and click 2 and click up here, oh, just like that. So now we can click, so there's 2 trucks in the top one, and that will guide both of them at the same time. So let's have a look at what just happened. We also unlocked the Pelagius cross, $2,000, and we got a Pelagius' cross has hidden itself from us now because of this. But we want to have a read and see what it's about. It seems to be a religious statue of some sort. So my results are coming up in German again. Let's try this. A monument? No, probably not. So there's nothing really that's appearing. What was interesting? Oh no, it's still not appearing. I was going to say something that I'm going to change my mind on. So, from the brief, Pelagius was a papal legate, which I think is like a representative of the Pope, a legate, but I'm not 100% sure. It also, some other article, there's a few articles on Google just from the search results. The Wikipedia article appears to say Pelagius was a Romano-British theologian known for promoting a system of doctrines which emphasized human choice in salvation and denied the concept of original sin. Which sounds like a lovely thing, actually. Even if you're not a theologian, emphasizing human choice in your own salvation, saving yourself, and denying that you were born full of sin. I think that's lovely. We each have a choice in our own salvation. We just need to take the right steps to achieve it and ask for help when needed. I'm not going to go down that tangent. But one of the questions, or two of the questions actually, I tried this for the whole people also ask section. So one of them is, which pope excommunicated Pelagius? So they must have been a controversial figure in the church, disputing the church's preachings on original sin. And so apparently the answer to that question, which pope, if you knew, give yourself a gold star. It was Pope, ironically, it was Pope Innocent the First who endorsed the condemnations and excommunicated both Pelagius and Celestius. I'm not sure who Celestius was, it doesn't give information. The next people also ask is Pelagianism practiced today? So I wonder if it was more, I wonder if it became a branch of Christianity, similar to, well, a lot of other breakaways from Christianity or the Catholic faith, such as Protestantism, Lutheranism. They're the only two that spring to mind, actually. But there are many, many breakaways from people who don't agree with all the teachings, but the general sense or vibe. So is Pelagianism practiced today? This is a very inflammatory article. It appears from the brief summary that Google search gives you. It's from medium.com. The article itself is called Pelagianism, the Accidental Heresy, Alive and Well in the Church Today. But the short blurb it gives you about Pelagianism says Pelagianism is a heresy which takes direct opposition to the Bible's clear teaching. It's quite inflammatory language. But it is alive and well in the modern church, both in the US and the UK. I'm not sure what the modern church would be called, to be honest. Pelagianism posits itself broadly thus: we are born without sin. Sin is likened to breaking a code of ethics. That's not a bad way of looking at it. Telling people they're automatically born with something to feel guilty and ashamed of. Is not the way. This is the way. Not Pelagianism, certainly, but the Mandalorian is the way. A little bit of pop culture thrown in there. The other two I was going to read was where was Pelagius exiled, and I wonder if with the Pelagius cross, I wonder if Pelagius was exiled in Martinique. Let's see. The blurb doesn't say much. It's from a dictionary of Irish biography, which is strange. It says that same year, so it's starting in the middle of a story, which is always an interesting place to come in. An official rescript from the Emperor Honorius condemned those who denied the fall. It ordered the banishment of Pelagius, who was expelled from Jerusalem and Palestine. After staying a short while in Antioch, I'm not sure what that is, I feel like that's Turkey, but I'm probably completely mistaken. He finally left for Egypt, where he died sometime after the year 418. I imagine that's AD, possibly as late as 427 AD. I'm not sure why that's in the Dictionary of Irish Biography. And the last piece was, why is Pelagianism wrong? And the blurb from the Wikipedia article there, this wasn't supposed to turn into a religious podcast, but that's where we've ended up. It says it's wrong because by positing that man had the ability by himself or herself or themselves to choose between good and evil without divine intercession was considered an attack against the church. Pelagianism brought into question Christianity's core doctrine of Jesus' act of substitutionary atonement to expiate the sins of mankind. That's quite lovely prose that they've just used, but essentially what they're saying is, if you say that you were not born, if you say that you were born pure, and throughout your life you have made the choice yourself between good and evil, without any guidance from the divine, you yourself have taken it upon yourself and made your choices without any religious teachings or teachings of divinity or their representatives on this planet, being priests or monks or rabbis, in this instance being priests, because it's Christianity. If you could make the claim that man himself, man being humans, rather than man and woman, if you could make the claim that man himself could choose by himself, then it brings into question the entire act of sacrifice that Christianity indicates that Jesus made on behalf of all of humankind by sacrificing. The act of substitutionary atonement, as it's worded there. So the act of sacrifice, substituting, taking all the sin upon himself and substituting his life for the sins of mankind. So that's why it's controversial. The question says, why is Pelagianism wrong? But it's more, why is it controversial, I think, or why, certainly back then, you take it into the historical context, we're talking the year 400 or so. If you think about what life was like back then, all the unknowns in the world, and the safety net of the church to provide comfort against those unknowns. And then you walk in and say, you can determine by yourself without the church what is right and what is wrong. It's an affront to everything they stand for. Historical context is important. I'm going to stop being so preachy. Also because my laundry is finished. But I think we can probably do one more town. This is going to be a very slow playthrough of Martinique if I end up rambling as I just did. And I'm more than happy to be called out for being incorrect about anything that I've just read online. It's the beauty of the internet. Everyone can freely voice their opinion. So Le Francois we cannot do anything with, as we know, because we need fertilizer. The habitation Clement we cannot do anything with either. Not completely. Simon's house, we don't know the resources that are needed. Le Vauclin, we can get sand. We need coffee to complete it, but we can get sand now. So why don't we do that? And actually, oops. Let's do this. Where did everything go? Everything disappeared from it. Let's do this. Let's have them going one at a time, actually, because we're going to do some roadworks. And then we'll try and do one more down before I leave you, dear listener. So we'll grab some sand to this roadwork. And this one tonner. Grab some sand to this one. And we discovered a worm farm that needs in Le Marin. Le Marin is here. So these roadworks and these roadworks will let us access Le Marin. Marin County in California, that's what that reminds me of. I know someone that lives in Marin County, actually. So Le Marin in Martinique requires no inputs, but will provide us with both worms and fertilizer, both of which we are in desperate need of. So we'll have a quick look at the others. The old mill that we saw. The old mill is desperate for sugarcane. However, this sugarcane is locked until the town is completed, and the town itself needs sugarcane. So this might take a little spell to do. Le Marin we've unlocked now. So now we can get fertilizer. And we've completed some roadworks. But let's do a couple more. Or let's do one more. We'll do one more roadwork, shall we? Let's do that. And this guy will bring to Le Marin. Now, Le Marin needs quite a lot of resources. Concrete that we don't know where to find yet. Sand that we do, and a hidden resource that we haven't unlocked yet. So the fact that it requires no inputs because it's self-sustaining means we can just pull from here constantly. It's currently refreshing the fertilizer, but we could pull some worms if we needed them. Further down here, oh, we have two. We have the Cape Islands that we don't know what to do with. Sovereign state comprising 10 islands off the western coast of Africa. That seems like an incorrect fun fact, because this is not the western coast of Africa. And taxi cap, which I don't know what taxi cap is. We'll find out when we complete it. Maybe we'll complete taxi cap. I can't imagine that the Google search is going to give us much. So let's do this. Let's grab some clay for taxi cap. While we're grabbing clay, we'll just have a look around, because this is our slow, tricky McTruck face. It'll take a little bit of time for them to come around here. So here we have Rivière Pilote, or Pilote. And we have fertilizer now, and we have sand. And with the fertilizer we can make sugar cane, but we still need 2 more. Need to unlock 2 more to work out what's happening. We have the Martinique Eco Museum, but we can't get fish. We will be able to, because the fish farm that we have just needs some worms and sugar. We need Saint Lucia, Cariba diving, or Caraba diving. We don't know what we need to complete it. And here we have the Trois-Rivières, which has no town, even though there's lots of houses based on Google Maps, or Mapbox, sorry. Based on OpenStreetMap, there is a substantial town there. But not for this game, it would appear. Okay, let's have a look. Let's get some worms, shall we? Why don't we do that? We'll get some worms with the fast truck. And we'll just have a look. So the taxi cab. So one more load might do the taxi cab, actually. But as we start to wind this stream down, I hope you've had a lovely day. I hope all is right with the world, wherever you are. And if not, just know, regardless of everything that's happening, that the sun will always rise in the morning. And I will be here. And so will you. Taxi cab we completed. Well done to us. $1,600. So now that it's hidden it, we're just going to unhide it. Oh, we don't even really need to, it's already here. I'm going to click on it. And it looks like it is a thing. The Google entries have come up in French, so I'm not going to read them. I'll translate to English. But it seems Taxi Cap is a boat touring agency in Sainte-Anne in Martinique. And I wonder if we can, if I say, oh, filters, can you do language on filters? You cannot. Maybe I'll say English. Okay, so taxicab, based on TripAdvisor, says this maritime taxi, specializing in sea trips in Martinique, will allow you to comfortably visit the treasures of a gigantic nature reserve lagoon. And it's rated, as of today, the 31st of January, with 4.5 stars out of 150 reviews, which isn't too bad. So I'll close that down. So it's taxicab. And we just need wood to expand this so that we have more stock of worms and fertilizer. You can see it decreasing as the truck fills up. But we might leave it there. I'll go grab my laundry and we'll finish my beer, which, because I've been talking so much, I haven't been drinking. It has a lovely taste. If you've ever had a Black Forest Gateau before, dear listener, the beer, the Black Forest Gateau tastes, it doesn't taste like 8% to start with. You can tell it's a little alcoholic. And it's very chocolatey, like chocolate cake that the Gateau is. But also right at the end, there's this lovely balanced, I was going to say density, there's this lovely weight of glazed cherry that they put on that amazing cake, and slightly creamy. And honestly, it's just making me crave the dessert right now. But it's quite delicious. I will need to add it to my untapped edition, collection. It does say on the side of the can, vanilla cherry chocolate, with a picture of the cake. Maybe vanilla is the creaminess that I'm tasting. I bet that's exactly what it is. I would love to know how they get that in there. Vanilla bean pods, probably most likely. It is like tasting liquid chocolate with vanilla and cherry mixed in. It's really quite delicious. So I'm going to go, now that I finished out with a ramble. This was a slower one. It still went overtime from what I was planning, which is the story of my life, really. But look at us. Who would have thought it? Not me. So here we are, at the end of day 2. We've explored more of southern Martinique. Still the whole northern side of the island to go. We unlocked some industries, so we found sand, if you can find sand on an island. And we found worms, and we found fertilizer. So we have some more industries. We'll be able to start making progress with creating more, completing more towns. We also saw Le Francois, so we have coffee once we move some fertilizer here. We completed Pelagius cross and had to read about some religious backings of it. There's no clear information as to why the Pelagius cross is associated with Martinique specifically, given it the articles appear to indicate that Pelagius died in Egypt. But maybe Pelagianism as a concept, maybe it spread to Martinique. Maybe we'll find out as we progress. Or if anybody knows, or if anyone wants to do a quick Google search and find out why the Pelagius cross is associated with Martinique, just drop it in the comments and we can share for the rest of everybody. Le Lamentin we'll be able to do with all the fertilizer that we have. So we've unlocked as in opened for business. We're opened to complete plenty of places now. And we have the capital. Well, the capital. Each country has a central country one that you will complete. The main to complete. So large resource requirements. So we haven't unlocked all the resources yet. Another road to unlock. Road to opportunity. Fort de France needs limestone, and if we have limestone and sand and bring it to the Fort de France, we'll get concrete, which we need for some of our places. The Museum of Pre-Columbian Archaeology and Prehistory needs concrete. Sculpture Library we can't quite do yet. And the Regional Museum of History and Ethnography we can't quite complete yet either. But we're finding more places. Saint Joseph, Le Robert, more roadworks. More roadworks and more and more to discover together. So I'll save that again because I was clicking around like a maniac. And yeah, this is where we will end it. Thanks for listening. I hope you have the most amazing day tomorrow.